Hi everyone. Where's Tony? Tony's there. Hi. I wish that you would go on and on because I think for your talk, you had already covered quite a bit of ground. I don't pretend to be an expert in any way. I was a geography student and a geography teacher for a while. But now, what I'm involved in is I'm really on the other side. I'm a capitalist. I would like to call myself a social capitalist. I'm a business owner. I have decided to venture into business for very practical reasons, not only for establishing something for income, but also to say that if I want to do something practical, how do we put our money where we could also benefit ecology as a whole? This talk, it sounds big, no frills sustainability, everyone is a custodian. I think it's actually very, very much in tune with what Tony is trying to say just now as well. Well, there's no solutions because really it's really a habit of mind. I think it's really a habit of thinking. It's a way of seeing the world that is going to probably in any way maintain, I wouldn't say maintain or even find some progress in the way that we have approached our whole environment, okay? This one, okay. Well, my company, Straits Whole Foods, we have established it to find some business causes that we can do to support not only health in people, but also hoping that our products can also feed where the funding can go to help sustain and maintain rainforests and to keep them stable and not declining like what you saw, but it's diminishing at a rate that is really very astounding. Now this forest fires and haze that is really impacting us yearly, that is decimating wildlife. We in Singapore actually has quite a lot to play and can do quite a bit too. And it's no wonder that it's visiting us every year. I understand, this is really off the record that a lot of our government decisions, years past, when our first economic decisions came about, our monies went to also support of a lot of these companies that went on to claim a lot of land for palm oil use and so on. So, well, what I'm trying to show you today is that the foundation that we're working with, the Masarang Foundation, I'm only here to tell a story, okay, a way of thinking, a way of broaching solutions that is inherent in the individual, in how we make decisions, be it in business, be it individually, and so on. That we should think in a systemic way, that we should think in an ecological way. Now, the project that I'm working on, the Masarang Foundation, there's a lot of wildlife that is affected by the slash and burn. If not, then, the burning of the forest also because of forest fires. And the forest fires is not only because of traditional slash and burn agriculture. If you understand, Indonesian farmers and indigenous people cannot sell their land. Business people cannot buy land directly from the government. They can only buy it from people who have owned the agricultural land for several years. So, of course, they go the opposite way. They'll buy it from farmers, and the farmers, once they sell the land, they go on to take more land. So this is a cycle that is not ending. And if we have to stop this cycle, we have to think ecologically, we have to look at where the problem lies, and and help the people that need helping. Well, just to give you a flavor, okay, when the forests are decimated, are cut down, not only are, the monkeys affected, the seas, the turtles, even the babirusa, things that we don't often think are ecologically contributing to the sustaining of the rainforest, all of them just goes. Even the macaques, like what Tony was saying, the monkeys, they move. And when I went to Sulawesi, they were showing us that actually the range of the species of the macaques, they are really, really decreasing very, very rapidly. From, I think, more than 14 major species, it is already going way down. And all these are being affected. And you see, these are the forest fires, the range of it that is visiting us every year. And what I'm trying to say today is that we have often just thought in this way, right? But instead, I think I would suggest that and all of you, if just a few of us go out today and then we change our mindset to think ecologically, like we are part of the larger ecology, we might, and start seeing the world and acting upon the world in such a way, a lot of things might change. This is one of those mapping systems to do with interactions. Imagine you are one human node. This is just a computer analysis of how many people we come into connections with. And they just mapped the interactions, and a very, very natural system just emerged. And I thought this is just a very nice diagram to show us how interconnected we are, actually. Just one person, and we go from one to many, and across many, everybody else is also interconnected. So we cannot deny our interconnectedness. Okay, and if we were to think about solutions, we have to think ecologically. Okay, we have to think about what kinds, ecologically, who are the ones who are impacted, who are we impacting by every decision, and how they are interrelated before we come up to a solution. I'm hoping that also governments, our whole country as a system, we can also start to think in that manner, so that we don't have, just a very linear way of thinking profits and what are the ways to get business without thinking about the natural network, or, putting it through a natural network of thinking about who we are really impacting. Okay, so our company, we have this product called, we put our energies behind this product called the Arenga sugar. Arenga sugar is just one example of how a product, okay, is born of this kind of ecological solutioning. When Dr. Willie Smith and his team decided to save the rainforest, they started to do that because, of course, him personally is because of him seeing all the orangutans that's being killed and thrown away, and a lot of babies that need to be saved and so on. But when he looked larger, at the larger picture, there's a lot of things that's impacting, like government policies, like what I explained to you just now about how land is bought, and also the education of villagers. They don't quite understand how money works, because when people come to them and say that they want to buy their land and they look at the total sum, instead, if you compare it to if they work monthly and then they get a trickle of money in, they might need help to see how to work out the sums. Okay, so the organization that I'm working with, they do education at that level, so much counseling with individual villagers for them to see the differences. And not only that, they also educate whole villages about an ecological way to live. What is recycling, what is wasteful, how they are really like direct stewards to the forest. Okay, consumer choices, what we talked about. Okay, how when we buy things, when we put our money for our products, what is our consideration? Is it really the cheapest products? Now I'm on the other side of the fence. I just came out for fun to try to explore different ways of living in the world. And as a business owner, as a food producer, a lot of the times when we discuss new products, we come to a list of ingredients. At every juncture, I realize that there are always cheapest options. And the cheapest options that come usually will make you culpable to a lot of things, like what Tony was talking about, like palm oil. Okay, like choices that will be cheapest, the cheapest that might have the most heaviest environmental impact. But if your company doesn't have a policy to weigh these, then you know what kind of decisions might happen. So awareness raising, when we think about practical actions, we have to think about who. Let's say haze, who is it? Who are we impacting? Is the villagers? We also have to look at business owners. We also have to look at the livelihood that we provide the indigenous people, and so on. So, for example, I just tell you the story about this tree. So Dr. Willie Smith, they saw that the tree might be a solution for the rainforest because it grows wild. It is not a tree that you can grow in a stand. So apparently, the indigenous people with their skills have to be employed to go and tap it. And not only that, of course, this sugar is supposed to be low glycemic, healthy, and so on and so forth. But these indigenous people, when they are able to tap it, they are also able to see their roles as stewards of the rainforest. So when they do that, of course, they have a livelihood. But at the same time, there is also a product to get them some honest money to live by. And beyond that, the foundation also thought about carbon footprint. So the sugar is being dried, not by biofuel and so on, but not by burning the usual way, but they have situated their forest next to a geothermal plant. So they use the the wastewater of the geothermal plant to pump it into the pans to dry the sugar. So, yeah, and these are just some examples of how when a decision is made to find a solution, this is one of the very elegant solutions that I came about. So that's why we wanted to help them. Okay, so this is the Frills Foundation that we are working with. That's the geothermal plant. And this is the kind of sugar that once you dry by the geothermal heat, it dries to a natural granular form. Okay, so they have also tried to cut down the employees that they employ, and then the farmers that they support, are growing every year. The trees saved each year, and so on. So they keep track of these, all right? And then these are the different things that I talked about just now. Employment, fair trade, community, health, energy conservation, restoration, and so on. So they plant new seeds as well. So there are many, many considerations. I could go on and on to give you more details, but I think I will have to stop here because I already got that angry bird. So, yeah, I'm sorry if it's a bit scattered, but later we'll have a further discussion about this.